All right, hey, what's up, y'all? So I got some mindfulness pro tips from our meditation session this morning, and I'm just loving our morning meditation sessions together. We, at most mornings, Monday through Friday, we do a 7:30 Zoom virtual meditation. It's part guided, part practice, meaning I talk us through. We have three different focuses for cultivating presence and awareness, and it's listening to sounds in the environment, feeling the body, and then also focusing on the breath. So I do a little bit of guided for each of those focuses, and then I give us some time to practice and notice ourselves thinking, lost in thought, and then coming back to the focus. So anyway, they're so great because, we do guided practice, and then we discuss anything that comes up, experiential, I call it experiential notes or feedback, And through that discussion, I think we're all learning so much about what it is that we're really trying to do there. So the first thing that came up today was Adriana had talked about noticing the benefits of what we're doing throughout her normal life. So she had a moment yesterday where she got a little bit frustrated, or she felt some frustration kind of boiling up. I think it was dealing with her kids around something. But she noticed the feeling of the frustration start to bubble up. And before she acted on it, in that noticing, she took a moment and went outside and went for a walk and listened and felt the body and did a little bit of breathing. And she came back and she was completely different, calm and collected and cool, and responded differently, And that's how this is going to show up in our daily life. If we're sitting in a practice session and noticing ourselves getting caught up or lost or completely gone, or talking to ourselves, and then in the noticing we decide to come back to the present moment, we're creating some space, and we're cultivating the capacity to have space throughout the rest of our lives, because we start to do the same thing. We notice ourselves getting caught up. And then specifically when we're working on feeling the body, I always emphasize the reason that's such a powerful focus to focus on is that sometimes we will notice emotions and frustration and aggravation and just minute triggers come over us in the body. Maybe we'll notice that, feeling it, before we'll notice ourselves talking about it to ourselves. And so the goal with this is just to see and notice what's happening, especially throughout the rest of our life, because in the seeing or the noticing, we have a chance to work with it. We stop the repetitive cascade that happens in the soap opera and the drama and all the different things that happen for long periods of time where we're not aware that that's happening. So anyway, I thought that was beautiful that Adriana brought that up. And then as we're going through the process, I think Adriana had brought up the difficulty around feeling the body. So one of our focuses is feeling the body. And we go through this whole progression. We work on our posture. We focus on a body scan. We focus on connection points where we feel the body connected or connected with the ground, pressure points against the ground. And then we focus on environmental factors or external factors and maybe areas of discomfort and tension. And then we have some chance to practice with it. And during the practice, I think a lot of us that are new to this, or maybe some of us that are still veterans, have a hard time feeling the body. And so we had a good discussion around having the focus of trying to feel the body is still a beneficial focus, and it still creates some presence in space. So as I'm trying to do something, even if I'm not sure that I'm getting it or doing it right, in the trying, I create some space and thought because I'm focused on what's in front of me, right? As soon as I start to have frustration around whether I feel like I'm doing it right or not, then I feel like the talking has snuck in the back door, right? So the frustration is added on top of whatever it is that we're trying to do. And I was thinking on my walk back, it's very similar to if I come in and I'm doing CrossFit and I'm new to it. There's a lot of movements I don't know how to do, and I'm trying to do the movement, and there's some frustration I might experience around not being able to do it right. Well, that frustration is some added conversation that has nothing to do with me in the moment trying to do the movement, even if I feel like I'm not doing it right or not. Hopefully I have a coach and some guidance, which is why I love us being there together and facilitating some guidance plus some practice, plus we have discussion about what it is that we're doing. So I thought that was really interesting and useful. So I think a takeaway from that is that we want to even notice the little irritations and frustrations around the things that we're trying to do, because that is added on top of the thing that we're trying to do. And the frustration is taking us away from what it is that we're trying to do when we need to just be focused on what we're trying to do. And that's meditation session, or that's synonymous, metaphorical, identical to what we're experiencing in life, And then Rhonda, after I forget which focus it was on, she had mentioned that she had a hard time pushing thoughts away. And this is really common for people starting out. trying to do some meditation, I feel like sometimes we want to have these practice sessions that we're free of thinking. And if we have a session where we don't think much at all, that's a successful meditation session. And if we have sessions where we're thinking a lot, that's not successful, or we're doing something wrong. And so the learning point there is that we're not trying to keep thoughts from happening. We're not trying to push thoughts away. We're trying to notice the thinking. That's it. Because in the noticing, we have stopped the cascade. We have stopped kicking the wheel. The wheel may still be spinning, but we're not adding momentum to it. It's like, if we're going throughout our day, we're not trying not to get upset or frustrated or irritated, because those things just happen. What we want to do is notice it when it's happened, and notice it as soon as we can, because then we have a chance to work with it. The brain thinks like the heart beats. So for us to have an intention of not thinking, whether it's during a meditation session or outside of a meditation session, to have an intention of not thinking, it's impossible, because we're only going to disappoint ourselves. The brain thinks like the heart beats. I'm not going to stop my heart from beating. I can notice my heart beating. I'm not going to stop myself from thinking. I just want to see it and notice it. And when I see it and notice it, then I have a chance during a meditation session to come back to the focus, the present moment, whatever that focus is. And then during the day, if I have a chance to notice it, then I have a chance to not only come back to the present moment, but then I also have a chance to reframe it and work with it and change my thinking around it, whatever that is. And then Gwendolyn had brought up something very similar. So after we got finished, we were just discussing some experiential notes that we use throughout the day, and what she noticed is that it's showing up in her life as well. In that she would sometimes, having a lot of this idle time at home, she'd start to think, maybe a little bit of self-defeating thoughts, maybe some people aren't staying in touch with her as much as she wants, or just, having some little thought processes that probably aren't serving her at all. And she would notice that. And then when she would notice that, she would take a moment and then just come back and breathe. She wouldn't do like a 3-minute meditation or 5 minutes. She would just notice it, come back and focus on the breath, and then she would reframe it. She would change her thinking around it. And I thought that was so powerful and beautiful, because this skill that we're cultivating during a practice session is exactly for that. It's to notice ourselves getting caught up or triggered or sad or upset or having some anxiety or whatever manifest. And in the noticing, then we have a chance to come back to the present moment. When we come back to first of all, when we notice and when we come back to the present moment, that right there is powerful in and of itself, without even doing any reframing at all. Because we've, again, stopped the cascade. We've stopped the soap opera from happening. Because the alternative to this is that most people are on complete autopilot all day long. They wake up and they're thinking from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed. And throughout the day as they're thinking, they're getting triggered, they're reading a message, they're getting a hint or a flash of something, they're having some depression over some past stuff, or some anxiety about something coming up, or some apprehension, some irritation. And they're constantly getting triggered. They're constantly following that trigger down a soap opera and a thought process and a cascade, and it's just nonstop all day. And so what we want is to bring this skill of awareness and mindfulness into our daily life. And I told everyone today, I said, this is like the Jedi Council, because as soon as we start to see what it is that we're doing, we have a chance to work with it, and our life completely changes. And I just think it's so powerful and beautiful that these people are showing up every day, and we're practicing together, and we're trying to take this out into our lives. And we're having open discussions about it. I think that's also powerful too, to have the humility to be able to sit down and just say, look, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right, and I want clarification. Can you help me out? Versus like just pretending like you got it all put together, So we're all learning and evolving, and I just think it's beautiful. So if I had to have some mindfulness pro tips, my mindfulness pro tips would be: the reason that we meditate, the reason that we practice, is to notice what's happening. We don't want to stop what's happening. We want to notice it, because the brain thinks like the heart beats. And the best thing that we can hope for is that we can see what's happening, and then we have a chance to come present and then reframe it and work with it if we have to, right? These little things that are happening to us during a meditation session is metaphorical, synonymous, and symbolic with what happens in life. How many times throughout the day are we getting these little minute triggers and these little frustrations and aggravations that carry us off and keep us from what it is that we're trying to do or what's in front of us? And so, I don't know, I just think it's beautiful and powerful. There wasn't really a mindfulness pro tip there, but I think that's it. I guess the pro tip would be meditate, practice, And it's better to do it with others, because when you do it with others, you have a chance to sit, have some guidance, get some practice, have some discussion, and there's so much more value that comes out of that. Just like if I tried to come here and do a CrossFit workout on my own and just watch some videos and try to self-instruct myself, it wouldn't be anywhere near as beneficial as showing up with someone else or a group of people and having someone coach us and guide us through it, and then us practicing on our own. All right, that's all I got. Thanks.